Well, hello and welcome to I Love Gay today. And we are back in the world of music today, and we're with Rob Shinno. How are you, Rob?
Good. I'm doing great. Thank you, Matt.
It's so good to see you here. It's funny because you're in San Diego, and I used to live
Mhm.
in San Diego right around the time that you were performing at Pride and various different San Diego venues back in the '90s.
Yeah, I did. And that was a bit of my heyday,
Yeah.
especially during the contemporary fusion jazz kind of era of music of what I was doing. And I did actually quite a few shows, San Diego Pride for multiple years, main stage, and as well as a number of the festivals in Southern California. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. And what the band is called Hemisphere, and but tell us a little bit about that. I know it's kind of contemporary jazz, and that's what you were doing even back then too, right?
Mhm. Yeah, that was our that was the whole history is a bit of a wave. So I'll kind of explain it from the very beginning. When I first came to San Diego in the '80s, I was doing a lot of what I would consider to be pop rock and electro sequence type stuff. And then as we moved in the '90s, the drummer of Hemisphere, Mike McQuilkin, and I worked in a number of different bands, and that eventually morphed into more of a new age type of musical thing that was more instrumental. And then I went on my own for a few years, and then met Don Bowman, who's our vocalist and sax player. And we had about a decade, probably about 15 years, where we did the contemporary jazz circuit, basically, the Rick Braun's, Dave Koz type of smooth jazz, and probably a little harder edged, a little more fusiony, and did that for a while. And then that turned into the current incarnation of Hemisphere, which is kind of taking the beginning and taking the end of Hemisphere together and blending it together. I call it my time warp blender, and we've come up and with the new album American Dreams, which is an amalgamation of that past as well as our more jazzy side. So you'll hear songs that may have a bit of Pat Metheny influence, as well as things that are much more dictated towards maybe Pet Shop Boys, David Bowie kind of
Yeah,
theme, if
yeah.
you will.
And in fact, you have a new single, Transmission, that we're getting kind of a sneak peek of its first release here. Let's take a look.
Sometimes I talk to you, transmission in the air.
Oh, that looks great. And what I was going to say is that from what we're seeing in all that, it's just you've come back, you've released this new album and so forth, and but it was quite a crazy year to be coming back in here and wanting to go on the circuit, whether it's the jazz club circuit or also various Pride festivals and so forth. You had to change a lot of plans this year, huh?
Yeah, we really did. We'd been writing the album for about 18 months, and we were predicated or planned to go into production in the studio in April. And of course, we all know what happened in April. I sat at home and ate donuts. So
We all did. We all did.
we all did as we watched the news and ate donuts.
Yeah.
And so that was a little disappointing, but in reality, it gave us some time to think about both the production and what we were going to put on the album and how we were going to do it. And the messaging of the album really did fit the times anyway, because we really had a theme about unity, diversity, and equality that we wanted to make sure came across in the lyrics and in the music. And we did write one new song for the album during the lockdown called These Are the Days. And I'm sure it'll come out as maybe a second or third single on the album. So we look forward to having people hear that. But so it was interesting. And we did get back in the studio in August and have to be very, again, cautious because, of COVID and trying to get through the actual recording and production work that need to be done to release a full album. But we did that safely and sanely. And I think in certain ways it made us more focused because, it wasn't one of those things where I knew I could go in and do 3 days of guitar takes on a song. That wasn't happening. It was basically get it done and do it right and make it great.
Yeah.
So, maybe it made me a little more focused, if not paranoid.
But you were telling me you're on Spotify and you're on like I think as we were talking before, I get a sense that the changes of this year allowed you to be able to refocus also on really kind of honing, your digital outreach and your digital skills, where you're, I think in the future, when we look back on this, we're going to realize a lot of things that we took for granted in the real world are now really kind of in some ways blossoming in the online world once we've kind of made that transition and adaptation. And I get a sense that you're also kind of in that category as well, not just with Spotify, but you're really being able to take advantage of some of the new trends and growth in online distribution.
Yeah, I think that it is a challenging time for just about every artist, and being able to get your stuff out there and not being able to support it with live shows, which we were perfectly ready to do with American Dreams, and we wanted to go out and take it out and get it out in front of people, and we're well rehearsed to do that. But the reality of it is that it did make us really focus on how are we going to get digital streaming, how are we going to work with radio, how are we going to make sure we get visibility visually with YouTube and Facebook and other places. I think one thing that helps out with Hemisphere is we are a very visual band. We tend to take a very visual component with what we do, as well as the audio. So you get half of it with the music, which is great, and we certainly want people to listen to that. But we do want people to see our videos and see us live, because we do take it to what I think is that more immersive experience where people can really interact with us visually as well as auditorially, as it might be. So it's been interesting, and we've been able to work with some great people. Getting an interview here with yourself. We're also working with a great company out in Minneapolis for distribution PR called Tinderbox Music. They've been helping us out a lot, and we'll be going to advance our radio presence on commercial radio in November out in New York.
Yeah. Well, what is as we wrap up, what does 2021 look like for you? I know you're probably going to release a few more new singles and so forth.
We are. We have at least one, maybe two singles planned for 2021, and as soon as it's reasonably safe to go out and play live, we're absolutely going to do that and be out in front of people and audiences, and we're looking forward to that. And we've been able to do a little bit of planning with the whole thought around American Dreams. So we've kind of decided to make it kind of an arc, if you will, and a beginning for Hemisphere with a 3-album trilogy, if you will. And so American Dreams, we followed up in 2022 with an album called Unity. And then we'll finish the series with a 3rd album called Power to the People in 2024.
Fantastic. Well, I'm looking forward to all this, and considering that I'm from Southern California and I used to get back there all the time, I look forward to driving down to San Diego and being able to reconnect in the real world here.
I'm looking forward to it, Matt. Thank you.
I'd like that. So, no, in the meantime, thanks for taking a few moments to share a little bit about your music with our audience, and I hope you're set to have a wonderful Halloween and a great weekend.
Great. Thank you, Matt, and we'll look forward to seeing all of you soon. Thank you.
Take care now.
It feels good, so good.